Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Bill Cosby. Boy, if that name doesn't make you cringe, I don't know what does. We've recently heard that all the bad shit that Bill Cosby has done over the last, I'm assuming at least 40, 50 years of his life, he's finally getting what he deserves. 3 to 10 years imprisonment. Now, is it possible that he could be out after 3 years? Is it possible that his asshole won't become a pudding pop in 3 days? Who knows? As far as I know, he's legally blind in one eye and probably 100% blind when it comes to how to treat women. So, in my eyes, this guy got what he deserved. But to be completely honest with you, I mean, he did actually start off being a very respectable guy. He ended up being the first black person to have his own show in prime time on television. And later on, got the name America's Dad or TV's dad. He wasn't my dad, that's for sure. My dad's a saint. My dad's a very nice guy who likes to garden and considers watching the Leafs on TV every night for 3 hours a hobby. That's my dad. This guy's a fucking creep. So I thought I'd do things a little differently this podcast. First of all, I like to start off by saying that, like I said before, this guy got what he deserved. I mean, this guy's an asshole. I mean, personally, I'm not saying I never found Bill Cosby funny. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. I remember my one buddy, he had an old VHS tape. And for those of you that are listening under the age of 25, I'm going to do a podcast one day about a VHS tape, so you'll know what that is later. But it's basically, it's like a DVD, just a big box square thing, that you put in another big box square thing. And you play movies. Actually, it's funny is a lot of people don't even know what DVDs are anymore. But anyways, and it was funny. I mean, I don't know. He talked about certain things like relationships and I don't know something called Buck, which I think was some kind of baseball game like wiffle ball or something like that. Basically, I think what it was is like you go against a brick wall and you instead of having a catcher behind you like baseball, you just paint this like square on the brick wall, and you have like a stick, like literally like a broomstick, and you try to hit the baseball. As you can see, times were very boring before the internet. So this is what he mostly talked about. That and cocaine. And I think for a while there, he didn't want people to use the N word. And of course, I'm sure people would, listen to him. People like Chris Rock, could, easily do a routine without the N word. Anyways, so, he was very well respected, and then this came about the last couple of years and just basically blew that out of the water. Again, when I was growing up, I saw the VHS tape. I didn't really get into the Bill Cosby show. I'm going to be honest with you. I tried to watch the show. I never really understood what the point was of the show. Like, was it meant to be a comedy? Was it meant to be more of a drama? It was just weird to me. I don't know. I never found it funny. I didn't get it. I mean, I liked Fat Albert. That was funny. Apparently, Fat Albert was only a 13 and he was already like 300 350 pounds or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he lives close to In-N-Out Burger. I don't know, whatever. But that's okay. Let's make fun of diabetes, in the 70s. Why not? So I thought that was okay. But like I said, the Bill Cosby show, it never really did anything for me. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, he was supposed to play a doctor, but then he would like all of a sudden emerge from the basement and then help his family every day. First of all, I don't know any doctors that are home that often. I mean, I know doctors that work double shifts, triple shifts. I mean, they barely see their families. I mean, they have to like take like a week off just so they can relax or go on vacation and play boring golf or whatever. You know, like he emerged from the basement. I mean, it was all dark. I don't know if he saw clients there. I don't know if he was working on the whole, abducting and drugging women there during the show. I don't know what the hell was going on. I never understood the concept of him being a doctor on the show. I never got that. So, you know, I never got it. Never got it. Other than that, I mean, saw him in a couple movies here and there. You know, most of them I think were shit. But that's it. I mean, I don't get the whole thing with Bill Cosby. I don't get it. I really don't get it. You know, guys I grew up loving were guys like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, George Carlin, Norm Macdonald, Rodney Dangerfield. You know, actual people that were funny. You know, I that's just me. But I mean, okay, whatever. So, what I'm going to do this podcast is basically just go down his whole list of, I don't know, so-called accomplishments, and let's, I don't know, see if you guys can make sense of it out there, or, you know, maybe you guys can give me some notes in the future if you see me, and please tell me why this guy was so revered. You know, what, like, how the hell did this guy end up getting $400 million, you know, and then at the same time being a serial rapist? Go figure. So here goes. In 1966, he starred in The Bob Hope Presents the Chrysler Theater. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Me personally, I was never a big fan of Bob Hope. I'm just going to get that out there too. You know, I might as well just talk about that. I never liked the way he treated Joan Rivers. He was very sexist. A lot of people, you know, liked the whole concept of, you know, being a stand-up and then being invited onto the couch, and then okay, if he does that for you the next day, you know, your phone's ringing off the hook. You know what, man, that's nice, but you know what? I get that you have to like earn it and you have to like work for it, you know, to get on the Tonight Show and all that. But you know, man, like you're not God. I mean, who the fuck are you to like point at someone and say, okay, come on the couch? You know, now you're summoned to be on the couch, and all of a sudden, like, now, you know, like I choose if you get to be a star or not. Go fuck yourself. I never liked that. So you know what? I'm sure that was fucked up. So fuck him. Anyways. Then he basically started on I Spy. Now, I Spy later on became a shitty movie with Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson. But before that, it was actually, I'm told, was a pretty decent show. So I never watched it. Whatever. You want to check it out? Go ahead. Then he did NBC's Children's Theater. Never saw that. Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. Never saw that. Hey, it's Fat Albert. So this started in the 70s, whatever. Before that, it says here he did a TV movie for in 1969. So 69. Anyways, yeah. So he did that. I mean, that was pretty huge for him. I mean, it was just about a bunch of kids, you know, going around doing the right thing, you know. While we do one thing, and have a good time, you know. And then, I don't know, I guess we now know why, what Bill Cosby was doing behind that fence. But anyways, yeah. It was an alright show. I mean, I liked it. It was funny, you know, the voices and everything. It was good, you know. It was alright. I remember there was one episode I remember I watched as a kid. I always thought this was like so stupid. Like, they, you know, and of course, you know, they made the, you know, the kid like, you know, really extra stupid on the show because he he wore a T-shirt and he had his name on the shirt. And, Fat Albert's like, hey, what are you doing there? You can't have your name on the shirt because then someone could just pick you up and then kidnap you. And that's what ended up, like, happening. And then, like, it's just a funny scene where, like, the kid went to the car takes off, like, Fat Albert's just run down the street, left foot, right foot, whatever. And it was just I don't know. It was a good show for its time, I guess. What can I tell you? So that's Fat Albert, We used to play buck, shut the fuck up. Anyways, then he did something called Man and Boy. Never heard of that. Something else I can't even pronounce. Aesop. Aesop's Fables. Who cares? To All My Friends on Shore. Next, Hickory and Boggs, whatever. Journey Back to Oz. The Wizard of Oz. He actually played the Wizard of Oz. He actually played a guy who controlled Oz. I see. Another guy that was hidden behind the scenes and you couldn't see what he was really doing. He was fooling everybody. Coincidence? Okay. Anyways, moving on. The Electric Company. Now, I always thought it was an interesting show. It was only on for a couple years. It says here between 1971 and 1973. It was a funny show. Not really, but I don't know. It basically showed like two silhouettes, and one person would say something like "k," and then the other person would say "at," and then they just combine the words. So it would just teach kids how to like read and stuff like that. I'm told other people did it too. I think Morgan Freeman did it as well. It's, decent little show, I guess. I mean, it is what it is. Again, he's hidden in the scenes. You can't see him because he's the silhouette, right? So, okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Okay, anyways, Uptown Saturday Night. Nope. The Chocolate Princess. You know what? I'm not gonna touch that one. Forget it. Let's do it again. Let's not. Mother Jugs and Speed. Mother Jugs and Speed. You know what? Hold on, just give me a sec here, guys. I'm just gonna click on this and see what this is about. Okay. Wow, I can't. Okay, guys. Again, keep in mind I was born in 1982, so I'm playing catch up with a lot of this. But apparently, Bill Cosby did a movie with Raquel Welch and Harvey Weinstein. So it's funny too. In the movie poster, Raquel Welch is right in the middle with her big, beautiful eyes, and right on appears to be the right, Bill Cosby is holding a drink. So he's holding a drink, and he's next to Raquel Welch. Okay, some jokes just write themselves. Okay, let's go back. He also did a TV series called Cause. Okay, I guess they couldn't fit all his letters in the title. A Piece of the Action. Okay, never heard of that. Then he did some specials. That Fat Albert Halloween special. Cool. Fat Albert Christmas special. All right, cool. Did a TV movie called Top Secret, never heard of. California Suite, never heard of. The Devil and the Max Devlin, nothing. The Fat Albert Easter special. Okay, so basically, I mean, he basically was not known for his films. He was basically known for his TV show, Fat Albert, and maybe a couple on miscellaneous things. So these were his cash cows for sure. This is this is how he was able to afford the ingredients for his drink. Okay, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Okay, I'm assuming that's. I guess it looks like a spin-off of Fat Albert. I guess. Yeah, he helps more kids. More money for his supplies with women. I guess. Missing Children, video short, never heard of. A Different World. I actually remember A Different World. That was a decent little show. He was in a couple episodes there. He actually showed up as himself. Okay. Oh boy, way to stay in character. Okay. Then he did. I remember this. Okay. He did the notorious, horrible movie called Leonard Part 6. Now, you're probably thinking, where was Leonard Part 1 to 5? I mean, ever since 1987, we're still wondering the same thing. We have no idea why this movie was called that. Maybe it sounded funny, at the time. The 80s were a weird time, where a lot of things were, considered funny. But yeah, I don't know, maybe they did some lines and, off a beautiful Coke table. Wood table, I'm sorry. And they thought it was funny, but it was not. It was not. It was not funny. Then he did a TV special, the Earth Day Special. Where again, he played himself. Wow, okay. So he really stuck to this character. Like, he really thought he was... see, this is the ego with a lot of so-called people that think that are actors. They will just stick with the same character, and people will keep thinking, okay, so he must be a doctor, or he must have studied medicine somehow in his life, and somehow he thinks he's a real doctor. And I was actually told that he was given an honorary doctor's diploma, which, I'm not even gonna get into that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I could be a professional A-list actor for 30 years. If someone gives me an honorable diploma, I'm gonna be like, guys, you're stupid. Please give it to someone who deserves it. I may play a doctor in the movies, but I'm not a real doctor. I think those are stupid. I'm not gonna lie. And of course, this fed into his ego more. Probably thinking, now he could, operate on a person, and then, afterwards drink a Diet Coke and, snap some Kodak film and, jump in a pool of Jello, whatever. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't help his ego. So then he did the work of art, and I do use that phrase very loosely, when he did Ghost Dad. He was a dad and he played a ghost. I don't think anybody saw that shit either. So yeah, but again, during this time, between 1984 and 1992, he was doing the Cosby Show. Dr. Cliff Huxtable. Where the fuck did he come up with that name? I mean, I remember Heathcliff. Like, remember the cartoon? The tough cat. He would go around like he's basically like Garfield. If he was more, more of a machismo Italian. Going around, beating the shit out of dogs. I again, that's what I always remember when I hear that name. But this Huxtable, I don't know. Huxtable. I'm trying to think, like Huxtable, maybe Huggable. Maybe that's how he starts with his victims, with a hug. I don't know how he got these names. I don't understand this name at all. I don't get it. I don't get the show. I don't get the show. And I remember during that show too, they had that stupid door. Like, remember those doors that would separate the living room from the kitchen, and they were like wooden doors. They were like restaurants. I never liked that style. Never did. I mean, that's got nothing to do with Bill Cosby, but I'm just pointing that out. But again, yeah, I never really understood the show. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways, Meteor Man came next in 1993. The Cosby Mysteries, a TV movie. Okay. So again, not only is Bill Cosby a doctor, but at nighttime he solves mysteries. That's believable, right? Yeah, of course. A guy that has what, 4 or 5 kids, married. His all these relatives coming in and out of the house. He's got time to live at home. Be in a creepy basement, be a doctor, and yeah, at nighttime he has time to solve mysteries. Of course he does. Sure, this is. Oh, holy shit! I can't believe people didn't see this back then. Okay. Then he did a movie called Jack. Who cares? And then he was actually touched by an angel. Well, he wasn't actually touched by an angel. Clearly he was a jerk off. Still is. But yeah, that's, touched by an angel. Huh. Wasn't it the. No, I'm thinking of Seventh Heaven. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking about that other dude that, got caught for that other shit. Okay, so touched by an angel. Okay, well, I don't know. He was busy touching someone else. Okay, he was in Becker. Oh God. And then I remember they tried to bring back the Cosby Show. Because again, I didn't mention this before. Not that it really fucking matters, but I even looked at this old trailer he did of the original Bill Cosby Show, and it was just these horrible skits. I'll be honest, I didn't even watch the show. I'm just judging by the trailer, and the trailer looks absolutely horrible. I don't get it. I don't get the whole humor there. So again, they're trying to revive, Cosby. I guess I guess all the kids finally moved out. Oh yeah, that's right. The guy, what was his name? Dougie Doug was in there from Cool Runnings. I always liked him. I was always funny. So I'm sorry he got dragged into that, but yeah, I guess people somehow enjoyed it because it was somehow on for 4 years. All right, whatever. And then he did a TV series, Little Bill. Oh man, I don't know. Okay, well there's the obvious reference there. A joke you can make about his okay, whatever. But yeah, okay. So judging by the poster here, it looks like some kind of cartoon he was doing for kids. Again, trying to make people forget he is a horrible person. Okay. Nobody cares. Okay, so Sylvia's Path TV movie, did some voice, whatever. And then, and then actually he made a real life movie of Fat Albert. That actually happened almost 30 years later for some reason. Why 30 years later? I don't know. It just, it seemed like the right time, I guess. It takes 30 years for someone to acknowledge a cartoon, I guess, about obesity, I guess. All right, sure, why not, Got a 4.3 rating out of 10 on IMDb. Wow, that must be super. Yeah. Okay. Why this idea was attempted, I have no idea. Kenan Thompson, who has been on Saturday Night Live now for, I think, over like 15 years or something. I can't even fault him for that. It's a good gig. He shows up there, does some shit, boom, that's it. I'll be on there for the rest of my life. I don't care. But yeah, again, this is probably a good little paycheck. Why not? Just, have some fun with it. What's funny is I remember he was on Howard Stern, and he told a great story. He said the couple days, because Bill Cosby actually showed up in the movie. The whole point of the movie is the one recent kid at the time is watching the show, and then he gets sucked in the show, or one of the characters. I don't know. You know what? Who gives a shit? It's about Fat Albert. I think the guy's come to life. Whatever. It's 30 years too late. Anyways. So Kenan Ivory Thompson's on Howard Stern, and he's telling the story. He's working with him for a couple days there, and at one point, like when they weren't taping, Bill Cosby came up to him, and he said, "Listen, man, you're gonna need 2 dicks after this movie comes out because you're gonna get so much pussy." And Kenan Ivory Thompson's like, "The fuck are you saying? Like what? Like 2 dicks? Like what?" Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, I mean, this is like Bill Huxtable, Heathcliff, whatever, Cosby. They're saying this shit, and you're like, what the fuck? This guy's fucking creepy, man. I mean, so yeah, I don't think the movie did very well. So yeah, that's pretty much the last thing he did. Oh no, he did a very Cosby Thanksgiving in 2013, and that seems to be the last thing he ever acted in. And let me tell you something, boys and girls. I'm pretty sure during that Thanksgiving dinner, the tryptophan did not knock out the women. Anyways, so that's basically Bill Cosby's career, okay, in a nutshell. So yeah, and after that, like I said, a couple years ago, he got accused of date raping a lot of women, in his career, spanning from the 70s. I mean, I think it was something like 45, 50 women or something, and it's just fucking disgusting, man. I mean, I don't know. Someone made a joke saying that someone should have told Bill Cosby, like, when you're famous, you don't have to drug women, but I don't know, man. I mean, like, if you're doing this many women and you're drugging all of them, I think you're a fucking psychopath, and I think on some level, because Bill Cosby, he knew obviously what he was doing. I think he definitely got off on the whole process here. And I think he knew that because he was famous, nobody, would ever accuse him or, speak up for themselves and say something, which is really sad. And at the same time, obviously he, did not expect this years later. Personally, I talked about this in one of my first podcasts about talking about the hashtag Me Too movement. I always tell women, once this happens, you have to say something right away. I'm not saying like say it that same night, whatever, but you got to say it within 24 hours because, this jerk off is just going to keep doing this, or he could move somewhere else and take over, another city. And, you have to say something. Don't say something like 30, 40 years later, so say it now, say it right away. And the sad fact is, like, I always think about this. I always think, worst case scenario, like if this guy did not have fame, I guarantee you that this guy would have become a serial killer. For sure. Like, absolutely he would have. Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Like, he would have done this with his victims, and he would have just, maybe some of them he would just run out, but probably a lot of them he would just, fucking kill him, and he would just go around doing this shit. I mean, this guy's a sick fuck. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it blows my mind. And the thing that just really pisses me off the most is that, he's only getting 3 to 10 years. And how old is he, in his late 80s or something? I'm not saying there's no point to it now, but there's a good chance, like, he won't, because of his condition, he may not even survive a year in jail, like, health-wise. Somebody might just kill him in there, how much is he really suffering? That's what I'm saying. When shit like this happens, you have to say something right away and bust these assholes. You have to. Absolutely. Just say it right away, 3 to 10 years, the guy's worth, like I said before, $400 million. I almost hate to say this, but there's a good chance he might only serve 3 years. I'm assuming he lives that long, But yeah, it's sad. This guy should be like in there, 25 to life. But that's the problem with being a celebrity. You basically get away with a lot of shit. So, say it before, and I'll say it for the third time. Once something happens, say something right away. Because this jerk off should be getting way more than 3 to 10 years. When I was younger, I remember I was in drama class, And again, like back, this was around like, late 90s, 2000, whatever. And again, at the time, I really didn't know that much about Bill Cosby. Again, I just knew about the show and odd little things about Fat Albert, and that's it. So then we were doing this something about like Tonto or something. Tonto is this was it the Lone Ranger? Something like, I don't know, some show in the 70s. Anyway, so I looked up some skits and whatever, and I ended up finding something on like Bill Cosby talking about Tonto, just some random thing. Now, I mean, the clip ran a little long because they wanted something to play like during breaks and all that, just to keep the audience entertains, whatever, so I ended up getting cut. But I ended up doing like more research on, Bill Cosby, and he had this whole routine about like Spanish fly. Now I'm like, Spanish fly? What the fuck is this? Like Spanish fly? I mean, so I'm doing my research on this, and basically like a Spanish fly is just like a mixed cocktail, that'll make you dopey and sleepy, and yeah, like it contains some pills and some aspirin or something, and you mix it with Diet Coke, ironically, and it's basically a self-made date rape drug, and I'm listening to this, and I'm like, like people are like laughing in the crowd, and like I don't know, like and he's saying this shit like it means nothing, I'm assuming he did this routine probably in like the mid 70s, late 70s, maybe 80s, whatever. But still, like people are like, like just laughing at this shit, and like no one's thinking like this guy's basically admitting like, he knows the recipe for this. He may or not be raping women, and nobody gives a fuck. Like, I mean, like we just laugh this shit off. I mean, this is how sick our society is. I mean, nobody gives a shit. Like, what if that's your mother? What if that's your daughter? I mean, but this guy, because he put it in his comedy, I mean, everyone just thought, funny joke, whatever, and even like the first time he was tried, like was a year ago, like he won that first trial, he leaves court, and then the reporter asks him like, oh, like, how do you feel? And he looks in the camera, he goes, hey, hey, hey. I'm like, dude, you just got accused of raping like 45, give or take, women, and that's the safest thing you can say right now? You're gonna make a fucking joke out of this? It's like when Robert Blake was charged with killing his wife, and then like he was found in the parking lot like singing a song like on his guitar. I mean, dude, this does not look good, man. Like, I mean, okay, I get you're trying to keep your head in check, but Jesus Christ, I mean, really? It's just it's a sick society, man. I mean, we got Cosby, we got OJ, we got Robert Blake, we got that Malaka as president there. I mean, my main message in this is just to, again, like I said before in my very first podcast, something happens to you, say something right away. Okay? Promise me that, guys and girls, anybody out there, that something happens to you, say something right away. Okay? I don't want to face any more Bill Cosbys. Okay? It's a scary world out there enough. Okay? We shouldn't have to worry about this. And people that just get away with it for years and decades, and they just put in their routine, and and then they have protesters show up at their comedies, stand-ups, whatever, and then he's got the balls to say like, calm down, it's okay. No, man, it's not okay. It's not okay. When something happens, say something right away. And Bill Cosby, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself for using your power over the media and, all your money and your fellow people. I've seen some of the interviews after. I mean, they've interviewed some of these people like from, the Cosby Show, whatever, and they're saying, "Oh, I don't believe it. It's a sweet guy." I'm like, really? You worked with the guy for that long? You didn't see any type of shit, really? Like, people like that, they show shit all the time, especially behind the scenes. Like, don't give me that shit like this guy's innocent. Shame on you, Bill Cosby. Shame on you. And I hope when you go into jail for that first time, I hope that night you're bunked up with a 6'8" tall, big ass dude who literally bends you over and sticks a can of Diet Coke, Kodak film, Jello pudding pop, and puts them so far up your ass that all of those victims you raped, you will know what it felt like. Fuck you, Bill Cosby.